Rabbi Dr. Androfi.
Yeah, I know him well. We have davened out there for many years. My wife hails from East Meadow. For 34 years, I was the Baal Tefillah for Mincha just before Yom Kippur. That was my
Wow,
chazaka.
that's really exciting. That's cool. I haven't got that honor.
All right. How long have you been there? So I
Well,
merged you just to
We
place.
didn't merge, we consolidated. We took two shuls, made it into one. It's now called East Meadow Bethel Jewish Center.
Were you originally
So-
from East Meadow or Bethel?
No, I was from Bethel. I was a new member at Bethel, maybe 10, 12 years in Bethel. Then maybe 15 years at the most. Now we're over there.
Make
And
sure you make friends with my good friend Jay Steinmetz. He knows where the good scotch is.
Yeah.
Steinmetz.
Okay,
knows where
it is
the good
okay.
scotch is.
That's number one. Number two, Jay's been at my house 2 or 3 times. He's gonna do some work for me. Bathroom, closet doors, a few
He
other
is
things.
such a decent man. He's a wonderful guy. You tell him you're in a Yiddish class with Al Davis, he'll know my name immediately.
You
And he'll
got
warn
it.
you to stay away from me.
And I doubt it. I
Well,
just wrote your name down. I have to call him up this week, set up another appointment.
all right, so it's
Everything
8:00 and we're going to start. And I want to welcome everybody to Yiddish Alive for the newcomers, and we'll get a chance to hear you introduce yourself. We've been doing this now for,
Don't know where though.
I think this is our 10th month. We started this thing, in early June, we started. And so we've been doing this every other week since early June. And, we've had a lot of people on from all over the country, all over North America. We've had from Vancouver to Montreal to Florida to San Diego. So we've really encompassed a lot of people.
It's okay.
And so I hope everybody had a chance to have a nice Passover and have recovered from that. And as we have, I think. And so I just want to talk a little bit about tonight and some of the ground rules. We would like everybody to keep themselves on mute when they're not talking. And when you would like to talk, raise your hand, or there's a little thing at the bottom here that's called reaction. And you can do something that says raise hand. And if you see mine, you see that's what it looks like. And then when you're done, lower hand. And I've got a screen that can show like well over like 49 people. So I can see everybody, and Shirley and Alan will call on you. Now, normally Joe Rothstein is with us, and Joe is on his way to Chicago right now. So he sends his regards and wishes everybody well.
Aber ich bin schöner wie Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, MS.
So my partner in crime here is going to sit in for Joe. And what we did the last few times is we've had a lot of kibitzing at the end of the hour. And so we'll keep this open as long as people want to stay on.
Good.
Well, wait a second. The basketball game starts at 9:30.
Yeah.
So I think we'll keep it on until 9:30, and then we're going to go off and watch the basketball game. So that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I think that's basically what it is. And I want to make sure that everybody's screen name is here. Good. So we record this, and this way we know who. So I know who Max is, but we should put their last name on there. So I'm going to have Shirley take over and do some introductions.
Okay. Haben wir neue Menschen, du?
It's
Oh, no. Harvey? Oh, Harvey. Redst Yiddish?
Yeah, unmute yourself. Unmute. Hit the space bar. There you go.
Ik ken redden een bissel, ik ken verstaan een bissel, aber nicht kan sprechen.
Sehr gut. Von wie bist du?
Originally from Baltimore, Maryland. I live now in Buffalo, New York for the last 50 some years.
Oh,
Ask him if he knows Adam. Adam Rosenbaum.
Do you know our ex-rabbi, Adam Rosenbaum? He just came this.
Of course.
Well,
He's the-
when you see him, tell him we miss him.
I don't know your names.
I'm Shirley Mills.
Oh, I need to change ours.
Yeah, yours is FJMC International, Mike.
Yeah, I'm gonna change my name here, so.
He's FJMC, she's international.
No, this is Shirley.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or-
he's the rabbi of Beth Tzedek, which is the conservative shul in town. Beth Tzedek is a merger of Bethel and Shaarei Tzedek. And we were originally members of Bethel, and we're now members of Beth Tzedek. We're joint members with a Reform Reconstructionist temple also, because I worked there as the B'nai Mitzvah tutor.
He's new, Buffalo.
Sehr schön. Wer hat geredet Jiddisch? Von wie hast du gelernt?
Uh,
Who did
Ich
you
hab,
learn
ich hab,
from?
ich hab gelernt a bisschen Deutsch. Ich weiß Ivris. Ich weiß a bisschen English.
So we have the
That's-
Tower of Babel, huh?
Ja, but von wem hast du mir gelernt, Yiddish? Von der Baba, der Seide, der Mama, der Tata, von wem?
From the mama and tata when they didn't want the kids to understand what they were saying. It's a normal story.
Yes, that's right.
Shalom Aleichem, yeah. Anyone
Aleichem
else
shalom.
new? I think there's some,
I think Larry Frank is new, Shirley.
where is it?
Right here.
Right next to
Oh.
you.
Now they can see you.
No? Von wie redest du? Wie wohnst du? Where you
Kleine Bissel. Let me stay so kleine Bissel. Nicht zu viel. Wir schön gelesen von meiner Seide, von meiner Bubbe, from the Mama and the Tata, das alles. Und
This, I really didn't want to be.
And wie wohnst du jetzt? Wie wohnt ihr jetzt? Where do you live now?
Long Island,
Oh, Long Island.
in Belmore, Long Island. Ja.
So do a bissel Eden, Dalton? Are there a couple of Jews
No.
there in Long Island?
Ich verstehe. A größer number of years. Zwei Young Israel. Yeah, that's Yidden.
They're good.
I'm gonna bring this closer to you.
No,
They're
no,
good.
no, it's all right.
Danke. Who else?
Bitte.
I can't see the name.
Looks like Linda. Okay, but I
So
don't think it's
Susan is new.
Yeah, well, we
Linda.
have,
It's Linda, but I don't think it's Linda.
That's funny.
Tell me.
Linda and male friend.
And male friend, you need to unmute.
Hello, I'm Susan. Oh,
Hi, Susan, we don't see you.
Here's
No,
Susan right here.
Oh, that's
Yes.
Susan. Okay.
Doesn't mute.
Welcome. Geretz Yiddish?
ich red a bissel Yiddish. Ich red a zerbrochene Yiddish.
Yeah,
yeah.
In Bremen hast du gelernt.
Mein Mutter und mein Vater haben geredet zu mir in Yiddish, bis ich hab gewesen 5 Jahre alt. Ich hab nicht geredet Englisch, nur Yiddish. Aber ich hab vergessen eine Sache. Ich verstehe mehr, wie ich spreche. Ich red.
I can.
Yeah.
do more
Also
than-
ist das, ja. In wie wohnst du?
Ich wohne in Woodmere, Long Island, New York.
Uh-huh.
Well, welcome.
Thank
Shalom
you.
Aleichem.
Mit der reichen Menschen.
No, ich wohne mit der armen Menschen.
That's me. I said she lives with the rich people. She says she lives with the poor people. I said, I don't believe it. I don't think so.
Yeah, the new face.
Linda.
It's an exaggeration.
Ah,
Okay.
okay. And I believe Linda is trying to get on. We see her partner behind
Yeah.
her.
Okay,
Right.
say what you want to
Can
say.
you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Shalom Aleichem.
Ich bin Fred Mackler.
But I don't know how to change it.
Fred.
Linda Mackler just told me she doesn't know how to change it and she's
Oh, that's
instead of
okay.
Fred. So, ich wohne in St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh,
Ich habe gelernt Jiddisch auf meinem Baba, mein Zeta, mein Tate, meine Mama. Ich verstehe ein bisschen, ich kann reden ein bisschen.
sehr schön.
Mm.
Und ihr habt gelernt, eure Kinder zu reden Jiddisch?
No,
Nein.
no. I wish,
Warum nicht?
no,
Ja,
I wish.
well,
Aber meine Kinder reden Spanish because
That's my language.
I speak Spanish.
Do you speak
Okay.
Spanish?
Yes.
Oh, I
Me
don't.
too.
Un poquito, un poquito.
sí.
From
Pero
how do you
es
speak Spanish?
hablas,
Ich rede
señora, ¿hablas ladino?
Ladino, no, español.
Ladino, ah,
Yes.
muy interesante. Yeah.
Gracias.
Gracias, sí, danke. And we have,
Ladino.
what's her name?
Looks like
Sharon?
Sharon, I
Sharon?
think have you been here before? Sharon?
Sharon?
Yeah,
Hi,
are you
welcome.
saying Sherry? Sharon, okay. Um, hello?
Hello,
Shalom.
welcome.
Yes, well,
Do you
Danke.
speak Yiddish?
ich bin in Yivo Yiddish beginners und ich will arbeiten zu reden besser.
Oh, sehr
Oh.
gut.
Das ist gut.
Yeah. In
Good.
wie wohnst du?
Ich wohne in Northbrook, Illinois. Sehr close to Chicago.
Chicago.
Nicht weit von Chicago.
Nicht weit, yeah.
Nicht weit. There- Okay,
Yeah, who's Rochelle here?
but welcome. And anyone else new? Oh, please, yes, Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
You have to, there we go.
Hi.
There.
I don't speak Yiddish, but I'm trying to learn a little bit. My grandparents spoke fluent Yiddish. My mother spoke Yiddish. I can understand. My mom died very young, so I wish I would have been able to pick up more from her. And I live ich wohne in, I think I say, in
Yeah.
San Clemente, California, Southern California.
Oh, dort in Nixon ist gewohnt?
Right from here,
Oh,
yes,
Leben
Yeah.
Nixon, huh?
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
How did you hear about us?
I took a class from David Freed, I believe. It was just like I thought it was an introduction class, and I think I found out about this through that class.
Oh, really?
Is it
But
part
in
of
honest-
Diana? Diana? group?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sehr gut, sehr gut. That's it?
Everybody else.
Okay.
No, we have more. There are more
Oh, we
newbies.
have
Sherry.
Sherry.
Sherry and is another Susan, both are new.
Okay, good.
I'm Sherry. I am Michelle's friend, actually, so I thought I'd go next. I also grew up in a household where my parents spoke Yiddish. I am originally from Skokie, Illinois, so I grew up in a very Jewish area with a lot of Yiddish speaking people, my parents' friends. So I really wanted, I've picked up a lot. I can understand more than I can speak. And now I live in Irvine, California.
Oh, there's Shine.
There's she.
Welcome. Yeah. And I believe we have Sharon, what is the name?
Where? Point.
Right here.
I have Susan with a pussycat on the screen.
Oh, so there's
She was the one, she had all the flowers.
Oh, the flowers. Okay,
How
beautiful.
come it says
Okay.
low battery?
Low battery?
Plug something in.
That's called a problem.
Yeah.
It just said low battery, but now it's okay.
Okay.
So Al, you want to take over?
I'd like to hear from the other Susan,
Oh.
if she unmutes herself and introduces herself. Susan, you don't have a last name there, so I'm just gonna have to call you Susan.
Yeah,
Pussycat.
Susan Miles. Well, I grew up with two Holocaust survivors, and my father spoke Yiddish growing up. My mother, her parents spoke Polish to the kids and only Yiddish when they didn't want them to understand. But my parents did speak Yiddish sometimes, again, when they didn't want us to understand, or my mother wanted to curse me out.
Isn't this good?
So I know a bit of curse words. I seem to understand a lot more than I thought I did. I've been following everything going on, but I don't speak it, and I'm hoping that at some point I'll get more confident and be willing to speak it.
Hi, that's wonderful. Susan, what's your favorite curse word?
In Yiddish?
Oh, God.
Of course.
Well, gay kacken off from yum.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, that's a curse?
Yeah.
Susan, wir sind du a bissel stifferish. Do you know this word stifferish?
No.
Stifferish, a little naughty. We're a little naughty here. Occasionally we get a little feisty. Okay, it's a good word, stifferish.
How about gay and dreidebald?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have somebody on from Canada that's got a book of expressions that she's generated for her entire life, and hopefully we can hear some more.
Esther.
This is Esther Shear, and she's entertained us with a lot of great. Right, Esther, huh?
I have to unmute myself. I wanted to say, she said, was hast du gefragt, Al? Was is a curse word?
We said,
You know
we
what
asked
a
what her
popular
favorite
curse word,
was.
a popular curse word is a Polish version, but it's cholera.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Cholera soll treffen, yeah.
Exactly.
But my mother added a schwarze Cholera.
Oh, a schwarze
Made it
cholera.
really bad.
That's right. That's good, Shirley.
Not in reference to people. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I want to
know
be
what you mean.
politically correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, does everybody know the direct translation though of when you say to somebody a cholera or a schwarze cholera?
No.
Cholera basically comes from the English cholera. And for those who have never had cholera, you are glued to the party. So if you have somebody wishes you a schwarze cholera, they want you to sit there for weeks on end. It's not nice.
Sounds like a colonoscopy.
Worse. That's
It's
just
worse.
the prep.
It's worse.
No.
What
Yeah,
about
so-
hilariosny? What does that mean?
What?
Hilariosny? Do you know that one?
Who said that?
Susan?
Wer hat das gesagt?
This
Susan?
was Susan.
Susan said.
My mother-in-law used to say that when my mother-in-law, you couldn't do her needlepoint, she would all of a sudden say, "Oh, cholera yasni, meine Hände me wei." So cholera yasni is actually like, "Oh my God," that
Oh,
kind of
really?
thing.
That's sweet. That is-
Yeah.
Huh.
But Hilaria is a bad word.
I
Well,
guess.
Yeah, it is.
it is the way it's used, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So, mit reden wegen Pesach, Alan?
Yeah, maybe one or two of you have a little story you can tell us about your Pesach, either past or present, and preferably, as we can reden auf Yiddish, to zählen auf Yiddish, is noch besser. So if you have a story about Passover, either past or present, and if you could tell it to us in Yiddish, it's even better. The zählen, to tell like a story.
Okay, ich habe etwas zu teilen. Is gegangen zu my bride for the Seder. My mishpuche, my bride's mishpuche. And es gekommen zu the fish. And mot gegessen the fish. And the Joach von the fish is gewesen ein bisschen süß. Mot nicht verstanden für was. Then hat man gegessen man hat nicht gesagt. Then hat man gegessen the chicken soup. Und es ist gewesen sehr fishy. Es ist gewesen ein Stück alle fishy. Wo es ist gewesen, meine Schwägerin hat vermischt die Joach in the fish Joach. So it's klar angelegt the fish Joach auf the matzo balls, auf the kneidler. And so it's gelegt the Joach auf the fish. Es ist gewesen sehr funny. Es ist gewesen sehr, was sehr gelachen, was gekannt lachen von das.
Okay, so for those who don't understand, which went to the Seder, okay, so they had the fish and the yoch, the soup, the fish soup was pretty sweet. They liked it very much. Then they went to have the chicken soup with the matzo balls, and it was fishy tasting. What happened is the in-laws made a mistake. They switched the two soups. So they put the chicken soup in with the gefilte fish and the fish soup in with the matzo balls.
Right.
So this is when you say, oh yeah, broch. Oh yeah, broch.
Nach a meise, Larry, was for a meise hat, ne?
Ik had de kasje voor de. The question is.
Man is time the halal is there.
No, but that's not the question. If the fish was mixed up with the soup, I'm not getting too technical. I hope people understand. How is that kosher? Because fish and
that's true.
Doesn't go. You can have the fish, then you could half hour later, 20 minutes later, you clean a bissel, then you can have it. So there any rabbis amongst us? No. How does that work? Uh-oh, sorry, Al.
If it's very hot,
right,
above 107 degrees, it transfers a ta'am. And if it transfers a ta'am, then you have a bit of an issue.
Exactly
I
right.
don't know that it makes it treif exactly.
No,
but
no.
You're not supposed to mix fish and meat on the same plate.
Taste?
Oh, die bist fremd, Al. Die bist fremd. Die verstehst
Ich weiß ein paar Sachen, nicht das Sachen.
No. This gefährlich. This gefährlich.
Nicht gefährlich.
If it's
the bist a Stück alle fremd. A Stück alle.
A bissel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Andere meisjes?
Ich gedenk as fish is parrot.
Yeah, that's what I.
Yeah. Fish is parv, but for some reason we don't mix fish and meat on the same plate. There's a lot of things I used to know I don't remember, but I'll try to make it sure to do my homework to get back next time and explain it in detail. A bissel rabonis.
A bissel of bissel.
That's very true. In the old days.
Meister von Pesach, when a gewesen a kind, efshe.
What?
Maybe there's another story somebody has from when they were a child, from one of their childhood seders, something they remember. Okay, go ahead, Fred.
Fred.
This was really very interesting there. I lived with my parents and my grandparents. My dad was away a lot on World War II, and he came. Luckily, he was back for the Seder. But anyway, lived with my Baba, and there were other grandchildren there. Besides me, there was like 4 of the grandchildren, and I probably was the only one who could read Hebrew because I was going to be bar mitzvahed. But anyway, they all knew about the afikomen, the hidden afikomen, and my Zeta hid it, and we all saw how he hid it, and we all started looking really fast to find it, and everybody had their glass full of wine spilled. So you can imagine like 12 people with wine all over the table because they were all running to get the afikomen. Of course, everybody got mad at us, but that's, you know, that we were taught that you got to find the Afikoman, you get a big prize.
What was the prize?
The prize was, I think, like $1, which was a lot of money back then.
Whoa, yes, it was.
Yeah, but it was such a mess, the whole table, wine everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Larry,
No.
did you have something?
Yes, it's a funny story, but it's a sort of serious story. Yiddish, it's not going to work. It has to be, I have to tell it in English. My mother's addressed in peace, came from Poland, and everything was made from scratch in those days. There was no such thing as gefilte fish in a jar or chopped liver in the supermarket, nothing. So to make the gefilte fish, what she did was she bought live carp,
Oh,
Of course.
live carp, 100%. And she used to put it in the bathtub.
That's right.
And okay, so far everybody's on the same page. I see a lot of, this is a
Yeah.
cool story.
remember that?
So I'm the youngest of four. In those days, when I remember, maybe kindergarten, maybe 4, maybe 6, whatever, something like that, 7 at the most.
Even better.
The cop was in the bathtub,
Oh, okay.
and at night when you had to take a shower or a bath, you would take it out, plug up the sink, put the cultivasa in the sink, and the cop would be over there for a little bit, and she would feed the cop matzah for maybe a week or 5 days, whatever it was. That's what it was. So all of a sudden, Erev Pesach, I come home, and I go into the bathroom to look at the fish. No more fish in the tub. Mama, wie is the fish? Wat was er met gezocht with the fish, baby? Yeah, my kid do. I hope she opens the pot and everything is boiling with the onions, with the filter. You want me to eat this? You want me to eat that? What's the matter there? I couldn't believe it. Do you want the Motzi Pesach, right after Pesach, never forget this, and became a hobby of mine. We went to the tropical fish store and bought a 10-gallon fish tank. And from then until the day I got married, even after that, even my early days in my marriage, I raised and bred tropical fish.
I was going to say you didn't raise carp in a 10-gallon fish tank.
No. We had guppies, we had this, we had angelfish. I wound up with the 55-gallon tank was the biggest I had. But those fish, I remember those carp. I remember.
Fred, let me tell you what's worse. You've been watching that carp swim in the tub for 3 days. You come home and there's Bubba in the kitchen with the neighbor next door with the big mallet and the knife. And the knife is like this. And he takes the mallet right in front of you. He goes like this.
Oh, they did. I was in school when they did it.
Yeah, and the
I was
blood
in
goes
school.
in. This is worse than finding the fish in the pot. One time I saw this. Einmal habe ich das gesehen.
The fish in the tub. Scary.
I mean, you got to see the size of the knife that was sitting on this fish, and she's holding the fish down, and he's got his hand over here, and then he's got the knife, and with the mallet right on top of the knife,
boom,
up, or as we said before, Shirley, and the head goes. Not something for an 8-year-old to be looking at.
No.
But it was delicious fish.
Wer will reden?
Noch a Meise? Another story?
Ich habe kleine Meise.
Okay.
Ich habe a nephew. It's 11 year kleiner than mir. Ich
11
bin
years younger
11
than
year
you.
älter.
Jünger, Didi.
Jünger. No, yeah, my
Ed
nephew
is
is
Inge.
younger. Yeah. Eine Pesach, my nephew is maybe 2-year-old, 3-year-old, and ich setz mit my nephew, and the Seder is endless. It goes on and on and on and on. And ich geben my nephew zu trinken juice. And ich give more and more and more. Mein uncle macht his own wine in the basement. And he put all the wine in the juice bottles.
Uh-oh.
And my nephew is sedate. It's like this. And ich machen him a shikker.
Oh,
Okay.
My story.
So a little Yiddish lesson.
Yeah.
You said it's gesetzen. To zetz is to hit.
Oh.
Zitz. Wir haben gesitzen.
Sitz. Sitz.
Yeah.
Nicht- nicht-
Zitz. Zitz.
Okay. Good.
Not
Done.
to confuse the
Thank you.
zits that grow on your face, Chas v'shalom. Okay. Noch eine. Noch a
I
Meise.
think, Mike, what's her name? This lady right here had her hand up.
Estelle.
Estelle, did you want to say something?
My mom has gemacht her Klein. Er ist gestiegen in the Häus. Oh my God. Oh,
Was ist gewesen?
Was hat sie gemacht?
Crane, horseradish.
Grain, grain.
Grain, ja. De
Ja.
vater mir macht de grain.
The
Ein
grain
bisschen
and
weiß,
grain.
ein bisschen rot, ein
Ja.
bisschen grapefruit.
No,
Grapefruit.
no.
It kind of brings out some of the stuff. She
No.
squeezed a little grapefruit.
Borkus, nicht kein grapefruit.
No, she doesn't use beets.
Nine.
No, lemon.
Lemon.
Beets, Borkus.
No, she uses grapefruit, and it just brings out the flavor a little
I
bit.
never heard of a grapefruit in horseradish.
No.
Yeah.
I think Roz,
No, I-
yeah, Roz, you have.
Ich mach de grain. Ich mach das mit lemon juice.
So, okay.
And ze blaben was.
Wassergein.
Als man nicht daran stellen, the lemon juice, set gewesen schwarz.
Oh, yeah. Roz, did you have something?
You have to unmute, Roz.
Rozzy?
Unmute.
Okay, how's that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I took my grandmother shopping every Yontif and Pesach for fish to the fish market. And we had a fish market in Charleston called Carol's. And her eyes were bad toward the end. And we used to go to the fish market and Mr. Carroll used to say, Mrs. Hirsch, this fish was just caught. So he'd bring her the fish and she'd feel the eyes. They weren't sunken in, they were sunken in. She looked at the gills, they were dull. They were supposed to be pink. She'd open this fish's mouth and the tongue is supposed to be pink and the tongue was black. So he would say, Mrs. Hirsch, just go catch the fish and put it in the bathtub and let it swim. So from then on, she sent my kids' friends out to catch the fish. And my house smelled from gefilte fish from the time I got married till the time my children left. And when they came home from school, they would say, we cannot stay in this house. It smelled from top to bottom, but that's a good story because to this day, my boys are in their 50s and they remember the smell of gefilte fish.
That's cute.
Harvey, you had something, Harvey.
I heard the recipe for grain. Someone mentioned borkus. Is that another dialect for borscht?
Yeah.
No,
That's beets. Red
That's
beets
beets.
go into horseradish.
Right.
Borkus.
It's the same as borscht?
Yeah.
No, the beets,
No,
the beets
no.
are what make the white horseradish red. You mix it with beets.
Right, that's right. The beets.
Also sweetens it up a little bit.
But
Yeah.
is borkus and borscht the same thing?
Yes.
Yes.
no.
No, borscht
No,
is made from borkus.
Borscht is made from borkus.
Right.
Yes.
Borscht is beet soup. Roz, you're back to us again, right?
Oh, that's.
Betty, it's Betty. Go ahead, Betty.
Betty, I'm sorry.
I just heard this gentleman say with the beets, Boricus is beets, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So, right. So Mrs. Fink goes into the store and she asks the grocery man, he says, Mr. Sam, I would like to have a bunch of Boricus. So he says, Mrs. Finkel, how long have you been in America? She says, I've been here at least 20 years. She says, Rosalind, wait a minute. Can you,
Yeah.
oh, he said, she's been in America 20 years. So,
Sorry.
so she says, Mrs. Finkel, don't say borikas, say beets. So she says, what do you mean beets? She said, you don't say borikas, you say beets. She said, you say beets. She says, this is beets. This is called beets. I go to Coney Island, I go to the beets. Wait, I got some more.
That's wonderful.
I'm trying to- He says, and my Tochter verheiratet, and he is such a son of a beats. I'm telling you. So if you don't mind, give me my borikas and let me go home.
So does everybody know what a ganef is?
Yeah.
Okay, a ganef is okay. So you know what a ganef is. So I'll tell you a true story from Pesach. My mother was a young bride. I mean, I was an infant already when this story took place. And she goes to the store to buy, groceries for Pesach. And some of the things she looks, and there's no Heksher Pesach on the thing. It says Kushel Pesach. And she got all upset with the grocery store guy, and she starts, but this is for Pesach, this is for Passover. He doesn't have the sticker. He says, Mrs. Davis, this is what bothers you. So hat nicht kein Papier, ich stickel Pesach. Is a knock a minute. Wait a minute.
He goes, he puts
Comes out with a roll of stickers, and he goes, boom, 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 and they all say Kushel Pesach. He says, yes, this Kushel Pesach. I was a story, she never forgot that. And my grandfather, of course, was a frummer from Yid, and he got absolutely livid. He says, this kid, you can't do it, bring it back. He says, that's not acceptable. But this is, there were a lot, they did that. They have rolls of stickers, and they just put it on. Now it's kosher for Passover.
I think, Edie, did you raise your hand?
No, I did not. I'm laughing.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Harvey's got his hand up.
She's laughing.
Regarding the Heksher that Al was describing, we buy every year some marshmallows covered with chocolate. I forgot the brand name, but it's certified by Rabbi Scheinkopf. I don't know if that's a real rabbi, but he must be 100 years old. I remember his name on the food when I was little.
Right. Most former rabbis won't accept it because it's kitniyot. It's not chametz, but it's kitniyot.
It's got corn syrup in it.
Right.
And fish gelatin.
Anita, you have your hand up. Go ahead. You have to unmute yourself.
I am doing that. So, mein Mama hat gemacht rein mit a blender. Sie hat geput Borkas aran in the blender. And sie hat gedropped a Löffel in the blender.
Oi.
The ganze kitchen ist geworden bright.
Oi.
Ganze kitchen.
Oi.
Sie hat gemacht, was mir rief, a blotte.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
blotte.
the dark paint. We had to paint after that. The whole thing
What
had
is
to
a
be
blunder?
painted.
A blot is, it's like, if you translate it directly, it's a blight, but it's a holy mess, a blotter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But a blote is also mud.
Mud, yes.
Oh,
That too.
right.
Reuten Borkas.
David, was machst du?
Her story made me think, what is a kucheleffel?
A kacheleffel?
Kacheleffel.
Oh,
Kucheleffel.
it's
A
usually a wooden spoon.
No. A kacheleffel is somebody who is a person
Yes.
who
Right.
stirs the pot. The person who
Wait,
comes
what's it?
in and creates problems. These
What
are
is
kacheleffel.
That was me in my mother's kitchen.
Never heard of it. Oh,
Yes. It has a literal meaning and it has the obvious meaning that was just given.
Right.
Beads is
Yeah.
distinguished from Coeur Lane.
Coughlin.
No,
A cuckolane, this is a bungalow.
Yeah. No, a cocker lane is a kitchen. The kitchen
Right.
is where everybody did their own cooking. And so it was a cocker lane because you cooked yourself.
Right, but when I went to the Catskills as a child, there were
Yes,
bungalows up there. They called them either you went to a hotel or you went to a cuckolane, which was a
Yeah.
small bungalow.
Okay, Sherry's next and then Mary.
But that's
Sherry,
just as well.
Sherry, you have to unmute yourself.
So in our class, we learned stir the pot was for Kakanakasha,
Who's?
What?
for Kakanakasha or
You're not muted.
Zana Puck left. But let me see if for Kakanakasha, they said is to meddle or stir the pot. Is that true for Kakanakasha?
Yes, but the exact translation is, excuse me, to shit up the kasha.
Okay.
Yes.
I
That's a new one. I
participated.
never heard
Now I
that
can
one.
mute.
I never heard that one before.
I never
To cock the kasha, for cocking the kasha, yeah.
Right.
Gary, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Oh, for kaktakasha. Yeah, for kaktakasha. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Barry,
heard
Shut up.
that.
you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Unmute. There
I
you go.
remember going to the fish store with my mother and they would get a carp and hit it over the head like was mentioned already, but then they would cut it up into pieces and each of the pieces would flop around. And that, as a little boy, that really scared me. I was wondering if anybody remembers that also.
Oh,
Absolutely.
No.
poor fish.
I left the house. The only time when I grew up, I never saw that. But I think we mentioned last time, Shirley and I lived in Spain, and Shirley's mother came over and her father came over and visited us for a month. This is back in the late 70s, and she bought the carp. I don't know. She bought some kind of fish and she put them in the bathtub, and I stayed away from the fish. And then whatever she had to do the business, well, I left the house. I couldn't even look at it. But the real challenge in Spain was finding horseradish.
There was no grain in Spain.
There was no, but
The grain in Spain is mainly in the plain.
but
Not in Madrid.
but there was a big German community in Madrid, and they had a German store. And I walked in I walked in there, and they had horseradish. So we solved the problem.
Right. That's right.
Go ahead, Michelle. Unmute yourself. Yeah.
I just wanted to share my youngest daughter studied abroad in Prague a few years back in a Jewish studies program, but they have a Czech student live with them as well. And to this day, they still put a carp in their bathtub. So it freaked my daughter out. It was there for about a week, but they do it for Christmas because that's their tradition. So it's still going on today, at least in Prague.
Mike.
Larry.
Is it possible that they have Jewish heritage and they're bringing their Jewish heritage to that tradition that they have and they don't even realize it?
I'm not sure because she happened to be there in a Jewish studies program, but the one roommate that was celebrating Christmas was the one that had the carp. And I think it's there, and I don't know if it stemmed from Jewish roots, but I know that they still to this day also have a carp in the tub because my daughter freaked out when she went to take a shower.
No, the reason that I asked the question is when we were in Minsk, of course, that before when it was in communism, you weren't allowed to be Jewish, and we were staying with a couple in their apartment. And she wanted me to meet one of their neighbors. And so I met the neighbor, and whenever she walked in and out of her door, she kissed her fingers and put her fingers on the doorpost, on the door jamb. And I asked her why she did that. And to me, it was like she was kissing a mezuzah that wasn't there. And she was not claiming to be Jewish. And I asked her why she did that. And she said she doesn't know, but her mother always did that. And so she does it like her mother always did. So that's why I asked if perhaps there is some Judaic history to it. And again, they don't know, you know, it's like, why do you take the tip off the brisket? You know, that old joke.
Could be, yeah. Okay, Mike. get back to-
Larry, I think you had your hand up.
Thank you.
So,
We were speaking a few minutes ago about kitnius. The Ashkenaz don't eat it, but the Sephardic eat it. They'll eat rice and they'll drink Coke with corn syrup. I don't, but there's nothing really wrong with eating rice, but we just don't do it. And another thing, when we're talking about horseradish, you know, some is a little milder, some is a little hotter. The way you make horseradish hotter is by shaving it thinner when you grind it. The finer the grind, the hotter it is because of the acids that are in it, the chemicals that are in it. That's when it really gets hot. And some people do use beets in it. It's not my cup of tea. But I'll tell you what we did use beets for. My mother's recipes, like I said before, came from Poland. And she's the only one that used to make the seders, and she made homemade borscht. And there was a lot of beets left over. Don't laugh, I'm serious as can be, and it was good. She used to make cakes and cookies. She made a small cookie, maybe the size of a silver dollar, a little bit bigger, with a little rim around it like a pizza, and put beets inside that and baked the whole thing together. And it was delicious. I would give anything to have one of those cookies now. It was sweet like you couldn't believe it. And the cookie underneath was crisp. It was good with a glaze de la tea.
David,
Go
Glaze de la
find,
tea.
go find that recipe on the internet.
Never. That's something she
Here,
made.
I'll tell you, ich habe ein Stückel gelachter von dich. Mit Juren sick, nicht mit Juren, mit 2 years, I retired 2 years ago. Ich gearbeitet for a kosher department in my city, in Toronto. En ein Tag hat der Mann ugeklingen, als will wissen, was hat gehet, als in jede car is do a bag. A mensch hat a car accident, Cholila, right? En hat gehet, als in the bag is do starch. Hat gesucht, hat gewillt wissen, was het sein, a Tome hat a car accident in the safety bag macht sich hif in the starch at the rauskommen from the bag. Aber ich habe geantwortet, besser soll nicht gehabt my car accident and you know, this is some so du sehr sach Menschen, wo sind sehr wie noch auf Pesach sind sehr careful. Ich weiß nicht, extremist. So imagine, so I don't know if anybody understood. A gentleman called in, I worked at the Kashrut Council. He called in and he said that he heard that there's starch in the airbags in cars. So why was he calling? Because he wanted to know what the rabbi's opinion is if he gets in a car accident and the bag explodes and the starch comes out. So I told him, I said, do yourself a favor, just don't get into an accident. But that's the extreme of some people. I mean, I have questions like, it was unbelievable what happened during Pesach.
It
could be potato starch.
David.
I just want to ask this august crowd, who puts schmaltz in their matzah mix? You know, the matzah meal mix. Who puts real schmaltz in there?
Matzah ball mix.
Matzo balls?
Yeah, man, you're
No.
making knedler.
Oh.
No.
I've added a little, like a tablespoon of schmaltz, and I'm telling you, it makes for very tasty matzo balls.
That's
Not good for the heart.
A lot of good cholesterol.
I had a quadruple bypass.
There you go.
Maybe that's
Could've had the
why.
balls.
Helene still renders her own schmaltz for Pesach, and we had each one of us 2 griebenes. Just
I
two.
wanted to ask you if you had greben. If you had the greben with the schmaltz?
Just 2. So the rest of them got thrown out.
Yeah.
Delicious. I love
Anybody
But
else?
when I was a boy, we used to take the schmaltz and smear it on the matzah with flesh. You couldn't have
Sure.
butter, so with flesh you had schmaltz.
It was good with some Wurst.
It was good to have the little bits of onion in it too. Gave it
Yeah.
some flavor.
Okay, Shirley, go ahead.
You're talking about schmaltz. I feel guilty not saying it in Yiddish, but we have a friend from Brooklyn and his father owned a drugstore. And his clientele was many African Americans, and they would buy his pomade to make the hair straight. And one day they came in and asked for that, and he didn't have any. So he took schmaltz and put it in jars, and they kept coming back for it because they loved what it did for their hair. Now, I hope this is not an urban legend, but that's what he told me.
Have to try it.
So Al, I've got a couple of things. One is I have a nice Passover song by a choir here that I'd love to share if permission from you, okay?
Was nicht?
Let's try it. Let's see if we can find this thing. Hold on. If this works, I'm gonna share this and let's see if it does.
Hope it's not long.
It's not loud enough, Mike.
Okay,
Well, I'm gonna have, that's as loud as it goes.
well then find something else.
Did you hear it?
No.
All right.
We'll save it for
Well-
next Passover.
Next Passover.
Yeah. All right.
Abba.
Okay, what was the other song?
I got a couple here.
All right, go ahead.
Anybody know the 4 questions in Yiddish? Tachtig, so,
Yeah.
Regen, the vier-
Tate is also zwegen, de vier kaarsjes.
Verwus is that Nacht, Andrisch von der anderen Nacht.
Yeah, yeah, so good.
I can't turn it off. I can't find where to turn it off.
Okay, and here's where we would say afzaluchis. Afzaluchis, you can't turn it off.
Right.
Despite.
Mike, do you know where that was filmed?
Where was it filmed? I don't know. It says, what does it say here? God, what does it say up there?
I can't. Oh, Chad Gadya Yiddish Passover song. That's all.
Because I think I recognize at least one of the people in it.
Oh
Really?
my.
Where's Preston when you need him?
There, I said,
It's good for us.
We'll work on it.
we'll work on it. I don't know
Okay.
why it wasn't very loud.
See, let's see, I knew I was singing a song. Mute, huh? You're okay.
So they had that 7.
Let's see if this one is any louder than the last one. And if it's not, I give up. I'm not quite sure what to do. Let's try this one here.
Shirley, Shirley, my mother used to put schmaltz with daisa. אני לא יודעת איך אומרים דייסה. מה זה דייסה?
Farina or מה, כמו פרינה?
אני לא יודעת.
All right, there we go.
All right.
You see this one? Let's see. That's a little louder.
Yeah.
All right.
Nu kolce publiczki, hej synka bejgala, die letzte bejgala, nu kolce mi. Stay alleen in gas, in regen berg nas, die letzte bejgala, nu kolce mi. Nacht, es geht vorbei, der Tag im Tag uns neid. Steh in Gas und Tag, was denn das sei? Der Weitig ist groß, von Unger gern ich heus. Du Menschen hört mein Lied, von Unger Paar. Nu kolje Bublichki, Helsinki Begalach, die letzte Begalach, nu kolje ich steh allein im Gas, vom Regen werd ich nass, die letzte Begalach, nu kolje ich steh allein im Gas, vom Regen werd ich nass, die letzte Begalach, nu kolje Nu kolje Bublichki, Helsinki Begalach, die letzte Begalach, nu kolje ich steh allein im Gas, von Regen werd ich nass, die letzte Begalach, nu kolje ich steh allein im Gas, von Regen werd ich nass, die letzte Begalach, nu kolje
Oh,
All right, so,
sehr gut, sehr gut.
so we have
Yeah.
we have a big announcement tonight. The big announcement is that Duolingo, anybody hear of Duolingo?
The app.
The app Duolingo. Tomorrow, they're going to offer Yiddish. And it's a very, very good app. I've been working on my Spanish and my Hebrew with it, and I'm going to start doing the Yiddish tomorrow. So there's a free version where you have to listen to a few ads, and then there's the pay version, which has no ads, and it's one of the better apps that I've seen. And you can put it on your iPhone or your iPad, or you can get it on the computer, whatever you want. So it's Duolingo, spelled
Duolingo.
Duo, G-U-O, do Lingo, Lingo, and it's one of the better apps for that.
I don't know how to do apps.
So,
Right.
Alan,
Plus,
No,
no, Mad, Mad, zu sagen, etwas. Toby, was darf man sagen, Toby?
Duolingo sind geschrieben du in Pittsburgh. Und ich kann ein paar Menschen, was sonst geschrieben. So ich sagen, es ist ein Jiddisch von den Chassidim oder hungarische Jiddisch. Nicht ein Polish, nicht
No.
oder hungarische Polish.
Yeah.
Hungarische
Hungarische Yiddish,
ist
yeah.
ein bisschen anders.
Sehr anders.
Ja, und ich weiß nicht, ob man kann es verstehen viele. Und morgen an ein paar Plätze in Pittsburgh erwarte, sie geben weg freie Bagels mit Käseschmier office. Man darf nur kommen zu dem Platz und sagen, ich will ein Bagel mit Käseschmier, und man kriegt da freie Bagel mit Käseschmier. Free
Was
bagel
ist-
cheese.
Ich gehe schnell zum Pittsburgh, nur für die
Das
Bagel.
kennt, es ist eine scheine Sache.
Ja,
Sandra,
das ist
Sandra,
sehr
go ahead.
schön. Das ist sehr schön.
I come from the
Was ist Cashmere?
Cream
cheese.
cheese. Sandra, it's a pigeon.
I come from the same congregation in the same city as Toby does, but I want to say something about my family tradition. My grandmother took eggs to hard boil them with onion skins because she wanted to dye them. I never could figure out why she wanted dyed eggs, but then we progressed and we dyed the eggs with beet leaves. Everything was natural. And we had the most beautiful dyed eggs at our Seder, followed by a game. You turn to the person to your left, to your right, and you held the egg as if you wanted to crack it. And there was a prize for the egg that did not crack. Everybody went around the table to their neighbor and cracked the egg, and the winning egg won a prize. Now, where that came from, I don't know.
We still play that. Our kids play that. They look forward to it.
Do you dye the eggs? Oh, we dye, and they come out, they're absolutely gorgeous. They're like madras colored, brown and red, and combination if you want to mix the two. And we've always had large seders, except for the last 2 years. But the idea is that this is a tradition that has been passed on from my grandfather. My
Oh,
grandfather
wow.
was a mashgiach who inspected the matzah as it was baked.
They put it on the
This
stage.
picture is the showcase picture of the Heinz History Center. Not my phone.
Sorry.
The Judaic division is my grandfather inspecting the matzah. They use it every March for their entire book.
Oh, I'll have to look. But Sandra, Kim Morgan, it's a pigeon. It's on Hobart and Whiteman and Chodat Chazan Dorten in the Free.
Are you in Pittsburgh now?
Yes, Miss
Oh,
Ricky
you're
Kim,
back.
die Woche.
So you're saying the bagel store at Hobart and Whiteman?
Yeah, pigeon across from the yeshiva.
I've never been in there.
Good. It's a kosher one.
What's not kosher about a bagel?
No mention.
Nine,
Thank
it's not the bagel, it's what they serve with it. So Fahana, there are bagel stores that sell treif on a bagel. So then it's not kosher. They don't consider their bagels kosher. So, and they also need to be inspected. I don't know what could be non-kosher about a plain old bagel store. But
You'll go by Larry on Long Island, not far from where he lives. You'll go to the Bagel Boss. You'll get a good kosher bagel.
I like Bialys better, but we can't get good Bialys here.
No, speaking of Larry, no. Zogapis?
The yeast
The
doesn't have to be, the yeast might not be kosher. A lot of things, the flour might not be kosher. It could be a lot of things. It's like everything else. Yeast
It might not be kosher.
is something that's a living organism. It has to be kosher.
You have
Oil.
to go to Montreal. You have to
Oil,
go to
exactly.
Montreal. Go to Montreal and have Saint Viator bagels.
Bus?
Montreal has Saint Viator bagels. They're
So-
the best.
So Fred, I think you had your hand up. You have to unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Fred.
After 9.
I want to know what that means, the San Diego bagel.
Saint Viator.
Oh.
It's been an old, it's in Montreal and they've been there for generations.
Wow.
For bagels.
Mm.
So I have a bagel story that I have to tell. I just have to tell this. So we talked earlier about living in Madrid. So there was not a big Jewish presence in Madrid, but there was a Jewish presence. And the presence was mostly people from that had come back from Argentina. And there were some people from North Africa. And we were having some people over and we were going to make bagels. And I had a recipe for bagels. And so part of the recipe said, you get a packet of Fleischmann's yeast, right? Where do you get Fleischmann's yeast? So I go and I look up what the name for yeast was, and I went to bakery. I finally find a guy understood what I was talking about. And he says, I don't have it in a package. He's got this big brick of yeast. It's like, So I said, all right, give me a slice. And he gave me about a slice that big. And so I made the bagel with that. And I put them together. And they blew up. They were this big. I mean, they were huge, huge bagels. And I said, these got to be the best bagels. And I threw them in the boiling water. And all of a sudden, they were this big. all the air out. And they were this big. And they were like rocks. They were so meanwhile, we had been home for the summer. And we threw a couple dozen bagels in the freezer. And so we defrosted these and we served them with some lox. And everybody, we told them this was the bagels we made. They said, oh, these are the greatest bagels. This is like back in the United States. But I never told anybody the story about my big bagels that turned into little tiny bagels.
Name of that bagel place.
Huh?
at Lux Place.
Use it for space.
Lux.
Across the pond.
Ich habe eine Frage.
Oh.
Why are they on so late?
I want to think about how to say it, but are you familiar with Lux across the pond?
Say that again,
Say
please.
that again?
Say that again.
The name of the company is Lux Across the Pond, or Across the Pond.
No.
Okay. In our Jewish paper here, there was an article about this company that had this special Lux that really was created in London, in England. And it has like a sweet, different taste, but it's supposedly very popular. And as a result, a friend of this company in London opened this a deli in New York and started to use this this Lux. And now it's become very popular, and people all over the country, all over the world, as a matter of fact, are ordering this, and it's supposed to be really, really delicious.
We'll look into that. That's
Yeah,
great.
we'll look
We'll look
into
into
it.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't say anything about kashrus though. I'm looking at the site and it
Oh, you
doesn't
haven't-
say anything about kashrus there.
That I don't know. We just found out about it, and my husband emailed them. And supposedly they're sending us some information and, quantities and price and whatever.
But they have several clients here in Orlando.
Yeah, we live in Orlando, in the Orlando area, and there are he has a lot of customers from here that he ships to.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, it is after 9. Unfortunately, I have to bail, but I think Mike will be keeping the site open
We'll keep
until about 9:30 when the ball game goes on, for those who want to continue speaking. Fred, are you still here?
I'm
Yes.
still here, but
All
I'm.
right, so just a little lesson for you and everybody else. If you take your cursor and put it in the upper right-hand corner of your box, you will see the word mute, and you'll also see 3 white dots. If you click on the 3 white dots, it says mute my audio, stop video. It also says rename. If you click on rename, the box where your name appears will open up, and then you can change it to say whatever you want. For example, right now mine says Al Davis, but I can make it say Dracup. Okay, which is what I did, which means somebody that spins people's heads around. Okay, so you can get in there and make whatever changes you want. So you can be Fred, you can be whatever name you, there you go, see that? Okay, anybody, Hashem Genacht, we'll see you all B'ez Hashem next time.
Thank you,
Thank
Ellie.
you, Steve, for good things. Thank you. It was beautiful.
Night, everybody. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We're going to
weeks.
continue on alternate Mondays.
Thank
So
you so much.
So we'll get another email.
Dankeschön.
you'll get another email, and we'll have a few follow-ups from tonight.
Shirley, you did a great job.
Yes.
Seid ihr alle gesund.
Do you always,
A gesunde Makepale.
do you always use the same,
Makepale.
Carol's asking a question.
What?
do you always use the same link? The same
Yeah,
number?
the link is always the same, but
And-
if you're going to invite somebody, the email has an invitation, so this way they get. So we shouldn't just send the link out to somebody.
I want to thank you so much for this. I really enjoyed it, but all I keep thinking, coming up with is gracias. How do you say thank you in Yiddish? I forgot.
Very enjoyable. The best hour of the week so far.
Oh,
Good, well, that's good to
That's
hear. That's good to
wonderful.
hear.
that's wonderful.
So save up your expressions and jokes, and we'll just chat.
Say quickly.
Was das irgendein Gesuch?
Yeah. גידי, הכל בסדר?
הכל בסדר, בסדר. תודה רבה.
תודה לאל,
כן,
תודה
נכון.
לאל.
We'll
כן.
see everybody in 2 weeks, if not
Yes.
sooner.
sei gesund.
Sei gesund.
Sei gesund.
A
Stay
gute
healthy.
Nacht, a gute Nacht zum Allemen.
Genau.
Laila Tov.
לילה טוב, ליל
טוב.
מנוחה.
Noches.
In Yiddish, a gute Nacht.
Gute Nacht.
A gute Woche.
Ich gehe
Gute
wegen der Käppi, ich gehe schlafen.
Yeah.
Good. Very good.
Soon, soon.
I have to say,
Asher Nessen a bissel.
Learned in Yiddish, essen, schlafen, yeah,
Fressen.
and fressen.
Fressen,
yes,
fressen.
fressen.
Lesson.
Und dafür machen ein Leben euch darfst reden.
I'll tell you, I'm learning
Can
a
you
lot.
hear
I'm
me?
learning a lot from these. I really know a lot more than I really thought I knew.
And
It's amazing how it comes back to you.
Right.
But like somebody said before, the Hungarian version that the Hasidics use, I work in that community and I use the Yiddish in that community. And they always say to me, where did you learn your Yiddish? And I say, why? And she said, the people always say, I speak an old-fashioned European Yiddish. And I say, maybe because I learned from my old-fashioned European grandmother, I speak an old-fashioned European Yiddish. All right, I gotta go. The phone is ringing again. See you in 2 weeks. Thank you, everybody.
Good night, be well. It was wonderful.
Everybody, take
Bye-bye.
care. Thank you. Bye-bye.